brave souls, I'm talking what this class is, because I don't even know.
We have
Yeah.
to,
Oh, go ahead, sorry. Go ahead.
It's like a class where like you get out of school, 7th hour, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday for work. But you have to come Wednesdays.
Do you have to work
Yeah.
as part of the class? You have to work during that period over 7th hour?
well, no, you just gotta have.
So really, anybody has a job can take this class, right?
You have to get like 10 hours a week.
That seems pretty easy.
Yeah.
Then you come in here and just kind of follow up about how to act at work.
You have to prove pay stubs.
That's
How do you
hopefully
do
what
stuff?
you'll talk about, how to act at work.
Right, right. That's, so, God, they never had that one out because I didn't work. So tell me some places that you work. Just to say.
Hy-Vee.
Hy-Vee, where else? Which? That's easy. Yeah,
Journey is what I was gonna ask. What's your name?
Tim Mathison. I was getting to that.
What's
Actually, I forgot. So, what's Journeys?
a shoe store?
Okay. Where else? Where do you work?
Fairway.
Fairway? McDonald's? All right, so pretty standard jobs. What we do, and I know some of you have been there, we've got a trampoline and tumbling facility. We've got an all-star cheer portion of the business. I'm thinking it's super secret, but I'm thinking about buying a dive club. And housing them in
Wait, a what?
a dive club,
I heard dive.
like divers.
Yeah, got it.
Yep. Buying a dive club and putting that as part. So really, our theme is kind of everything acrobatic, but it's different than like a Defy Gravity or Don't Shoe or those kind of things, and that our business model is set up so that there's no walk-in. And by that I mean, prior to this job, I had a sales job where I called people and tried to sell them so we can all make money and do things. And controlling that was what I wanted to do, but I couldn't be a salesperson like at a car lot. Now that's something that a lot of people are very good at, but I could never do a job where people had to come to the lot and then I had to go ask them what they were doing and then try to sell them. Do you understand the difference there? I didn't want to be like, oh, I wonder who's going to show up today, but I got to try to sell a car. I want to be like, I want to control who comes here. I want to know the amount of people that are coming. Like, I know exactly how many people are going to show up tonight. And it's going to be about 500 people in different classes. And so I know exactly who those are. I've got it documented. We're going to take attendance. And their parents are all paying. And the parents all pay me at the beginning of the month. So I know exactly how much revenue is coming in. So that's important to me. Because of that, I know exactly who needs to work. And along with the themes of what you guys wanted to talk about today, or at least what your teacher said you might need to talk about today, right? Along those lines, I have to have those people show up for work. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And we do have some high school kids that work there. We do have some pretty strong expectations of the people that work there, but I pay a little better too because of those expectations. And you'll find that out too. If you want an easy job that just kind of whatever, and you're going to show up and go through the motions, that's what kind of pay you're going to get. If you want to make an impression and work and become valuable, I think one of the things that I ask my employees is, if I got rid of you right now, would we skip a beat? In other words, could somebody else come right into your spot? If I'm paying you $8 an hour right now, and I can hire somebody for $7, give me a reason to keep you. Because if you're working, 10 hours a week, and you're making you're making 8, and I can hire somebody for $7, why wouldn't I save $100 a week if you're going to do the same work? So you've got to differentiate yourself to make that extra money. Because if you don't, you're not valuable. And in terms of things, and look, I know everybody, and I like everybody there, and we're nice to everybody and do those things. But when it comes down to business and I'm looking at a cash flow sheet or a profit and loss, or looking at our payroll, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I make this work? One of the things I need to do is how much are my employees valuable? Because that's the number one cost. The number one cost is going to be payroll, no matter what. the amount of people that you have. And if I have somebody coming in that's not doing what they're worth, I have to get rid of them, and it's just the way it is. Because I can find people that can do that job. So, if you have what you consider to be a low-paying job, make yourself valuable. Make it so they go, yeah, I can't really get rid of them though. Maybe I just work with them. Or make it so that if you go in and say, I gotta quit because of this, they don't want you to leave. Because there's leverage with that, if you're valuable. If you're not valuable, they're gonna say, okay, well, now I gotta hire somebody else, which is no big deal. Then their only paying is training. I assume you guys all went through some sort of training for your job. And that does cost money for employers, so they don't wanna spend a bunch of money on it. But, again, the cost of, if I can save $100 a month in that example I gave you for, or $100 a week, excuse me, $400 a month or so for 8 months, it's pretty significant, isn't it? So I can hire people that are just going through the motions all the time. We don't do that at our company, but I know businesses do. They just need a body there. They just need somebody to take out the garbage, or they just need to do that. Again, anybody can do that, so you need to make it, put your own signature on it so that you can make more money, because I assume that's your goal. And then you've got to add value to that company. Okay? Along with that includes, with our employees, well, let me back up. Let's say you want to work at Airborne, you want to be one of the coaches. And again, we have people that are high school level. Matter of fact, I've got 32 people working at Airborne. Okay? About 10 to 12 of them are high school kids. I don't make them do the jobs that I wouldn't do. I try to lead by example. I clean the bathrooms. I do those things. So anything that I ask them to do, I would do too. Yes?
You have 32.
32 employees.
Isn't that a lot?
It's a lot.
I have some 4 people that work in my job.
Well, here's the thing.
That's it?
Yeah.
Last year we had 37 cheerleaders, probably 20 people on the trampoline atomic team, probably 200 rec kids. This year we have, everything has at least doubled. And so we're in a high growth mode. And with high growth, it's gonna cost money, because I gotta pay people for that growth. And it's dangerous if you don't monitor it correctly. Everybody wants to be part of a big company, but if you don't monitor it correctly, you'll get in trouble. Because cash is very important. But back to the other part, of those people that are your age working at Airborne Academy, and I've already told you, I'm not gonna do anything I wouldn't ask them to do. Other way around. I would do whatever I'd ask them to do, so that I can lead by example. They're making, I think at a minimum, $9 an hour. Some are making $11 an hour. In the process to get hired at Airborne is, we do 20 hours of you shadowing a coach. You don't have to do anything, but show up on time, be dressed properly, get rid of your cell phones on the floor. If at any one of those times during that first 20 hours, any of that fails, we tell you you're not fit for Airborne. We need to be serious about it. Again, we're gonna pay a little more. After that 20 hours is done, you get a class for 20 hours with your mentor, who's gonna help you the whole time. You just have somebody right there that you can say, hey, look, what do we do here, what do we do here? At that point, you get a raise, because you made the first round. Then, after that second 20 hours, you get another raise, and you get your own classes. But you also have 40 hours of training that you know exactly what to do. If any of that fails within that period, we don't hire you. What that does for us is it actually tells us, how much does this person want to be here? Are they just trying to get a couple bucks so that they can hang out on the weekends? Or do they really want to be a part of our business and be a part of our culture and really care for the kids that are here? Yes?
So it's kind of like a paid interview?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. We'll interview you, and you really don't need to know anything. Our qualifications are, first and foremost, our target audience is about an 8-year-old to a 12-year-old girl. You've got boys in there that are doing trampoline and tumbling and just tumbling and cheer, but that's our target audience. But the number one thing that we'll ask first on it in the interview process, and it's not a huge interview process, it's just me and you talking. You gotta like kids first. You gotta be nice to kids. You gotta appreciate kids. You just have to be a nice person. That's it. You have to appreciate some of the things that those kids are doing. If that frustrates you in any way, and you can't pull them aside and say, hey, look, here's the things that you do that bother me. Or here's what would work better if, you know, when I yell at you, you don't have to shut down. Not when I yell at you, but when I correct you, you don't have to shut down. If you're not capable of that conversation and you just snap, there's gonna be a problem. You're not gonna be able to work there. So those are the kinds of things that we're trying to figure out. Are you just a good person that fits into what we're trying to accomplish? And we'll find that out right away. And you'll get a lot of rewards from our job because these kids will come in looking for you. They can't wait to see you every week. They want to work with you on this and that and the other. And plus you get paid for it. If after that point, you know, there's more responsibilities to be had, but we still always go back to our core. And most companies are going to be like this. We still always go back to the core. Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? And again, that comes back to dress, behavior. Are you on time? You can't be late. You just can't. It doesn't work in our model. We have kids waiting for class and parents are paying. You can't be late. It's 15 minutes early so you can check some things out, clock in, ready to roll. Answer any questions, try to figure out who's going to be there, then you go. And so I'm pretty sure that's what you hear from probably everybody that speaks here. Get off your cell phones, don't be late, dress appropriately, act like a human being. So it's not any different than most, but if you're not doing those things, I mean, that's kind of your fault, right? Eventually you have to figure out, okay, in order for me to do this, I'm going to have to act this way. And that's the way it's going to work for the rest of your lives when you want a job. That's just the way it is. People need dependable people, people need to know that you're there, and people will pay you to do those things. Now, as you go, how many people are going to get college degrees here? Hopefully, right? How many people are in the job right now that they're going to keep forever? Like they're going to be my age, they're going to be 40s, late 40s, and you're going to have the job you got right now. That's a pretty good goal, right? So how are you going to get better? It's just not age. There's people my age working your job, isn't there? So what's the difference? And that's going to be important for you to figure out. What is the difference in that? Why are there people my age working your job? It's because of the things I just talked about. There's some other circumstances too beyond their control, but for the most part, it's that. So you've got to be responsible people. You've got to stand out a little bit at work. All right? Don't be throwing French fries at each other. Right? Hiding different shoes in different boxes, whatever it is we do.
We play a game where we have bouncy balls and we try and, like, when nobody's in there, we bounce the bouncy balls. And
Yeah, that one. Don't be doing that.
You get points for it, yeah.
And sometimes in retail it's different because you have your downtime that's really, really down.
Yeah, but this was a
But my recommendation to you, if you want to climb a ladder and get more, maybe get paid better, because we have times too when maybe nobody shows up. Maybe we got practice on, you know, what had happened when there was open house for teachers and your parents come in and go through your schedule, you know, that night. We have very few people there. Well, we don't close, but attendance is really down. So our employees aren't just going to sit there. And the valuable ones picked up a vacuum cleaner, maybe washed windows, maybe came and said, what can I do? And we're busy. And that really, really helps me. Because like we said, 32 is a lot. And to manage 32 people is tough. And then when I've got 18 people there, that what do we do? I can't find stuff for everybody, but I'm not going to pay you to sit around either. But you can get paid if you're there, if you do stuff. It may not just be exactly what you thought. And everybody has a responsibility to clean when you're on the clock, and everybody has a responsibility to put their stuff away, and everybody has a responsibility to figure out ways to make the gym better. They'll say, I know what this will work better. What if we did it this way? What if we did it this way? Or why don't we do it this way? And I'm good with all that. And again, that makes people valuable to me. Because I'm not the one teaching the classes. So I've got to rely on them to tell me how it's going. Just like maybe something's happening at your retail spot or your restaurant or wherever you're at work, and that continues to be the same problem over and over. You've got two options. Complain about it to your friends, or maybe come up with a solution for it and tell somebody, and again, that makes you valuable. Now, what they do with that information is up to them. They may not ever want it. They may be one of these people that just, I don't want to hear it from you, whatever, I've done this many years, we all know those kind of people. But at least you're trying to get solutions. So, that's the thing. That's my little, make sure you do what you're supposed to do. Same one everybody gave, isn't it? They probably told you that when you got hired. And whether or not you did it or not, who knows? Let's do some questions. It's a lot easier than me sitting up here talking. Yeah?
How long have you guys been open?
Just a little bit over 2 years. I used to be over there in room 104, little social studies.
Really?
A few years ago,
It was a few years ago.
because I've been here a long time and it was before me.
Yeah. That was a few years ago. I stopped teaching here in 2001, and then I did some sales stuff, which is great. I could travel everywhere and do some stuff. And then I decided to do this Airborne Academy thing. What else? If you have questions, it's gonna take a long time. Yeah.
Are all of your like employers like previous gymnastics?
Almost half are, almost half. The rest are just kid people that we've trained. It doesn't take a lot of training to teach an 8-year-old how to do a somersault. We call them somersaults, we call them forward rolls and others. It doesn't take a lot. The biggest your class will ever be is 8 kids. So you'll take 8 kids, you have this lesson plan, and you go to work with them. You tell them where to put their arms, where to put their thing, and they roll. It doesn't take gymnastics experience to teach a kid how to touch their toes when they're up in the air on a trampoline. We will show you how to do all that. But again, you have to be a positive person and you have to like kids. That's number one, and then be teachable. Yes?
Do they get to like pick or like suggest what classes that they teach?
We do that according to their strengths and what they want to do.
Yeah.
And we try, and if they're available, we'll certainly point them in that direction. A lot of times what will happen is, there may be, let's say, and I'll make it simple, let's say there's a tumbling class going on, and usually there's 6 to 8 classes going on. Let's say there's one tumbling class going on and one trampoline and tumbling class going on. Okay, those are 2 different classes. 8 is the most. Well, rather than closing that class of tumbling when it's at 8, if they add 9, I add another instructor, and then I make that class a 4 and a 5. So I keep splitting it up. And that's an opportunity where we need to move somebody in there, and I'll say, hey, can you teach this lower level tumbling for an hour, 55 minutes, and here's your kids. And for the most part, like I said, it's the same kids every week. Yeah?
You guys have like a state requirement that like one person has to have so many kids?
That's a great question. No, I don't. We do it just for customer service. And it actually costs me money. It's $65 per month to take a class. I've got that broken down in your typical 4-month week, 4-week month. It's about $16.25 an hour that they're paying to be in that class. I'm paying, let's say $10 an hour. Okay? If I have one person in that class, I'm kind of making money, making about $6 in that class. But if I have 8 people in that same class and I'm paying somebody $10 an hour, I'm making 16.25 times 8 minus 10 for that class, give or take. So my full classes are really, really good money makers, and that's why I can afford. That's kind of our motto though, because nobody wants to take their kid to a class with one instructor and 20 kids, and it's not hands-on, it's just a mess. So we keep it at 8. That's enough for us to make money on that class so that we can keep operating. Where we struggle again is when there's only 2 people in that class, and I gotta find a way to how are we gonna fill this class so we can still keep it open for the kids. And so that's why it doesn't bother me to pay $10, even for $10 an hour, even for young people, if you're doing a good job, you know. But no, there's no state requirement. There are people that have a lot more. I don't think there's anybody that has less. There's recommendations you get from like USA Gymnastics or some other places, but we just kind of do our own thing. We figure out what works for us. So,
Your most popular classes or what?
we've all of our rec classes. We got our tumbling classes. People want to learn how to do back handsprings and flip on the floor and do those kinds of things. You know, those are, what happens is, if you take that class and supplement it with any other sport, it'll develop strength for you. You know, if you can do those things, you'll have really good core strength, and it helps you in other sports. That's why we have a lot of boys doing it. You know, you can go to some of these other places and go through training when all you really need to do is just flip a little bit, and you'll develop body strength and core strength, so it'll help you, especially if you're younger. Yeah.
Do all of your like clients sign papers for like liability?
The second largest expense behind payroll is insurance for me. And ours is ironclad. Broken bones, we have had a broken neck, had a broken leg, we've had, bumps and bruises. Oh, we've had a broken shoulder, separated shoulders. You know, when you're landing, you're up in the air and you're landing, it's gonna happen. Yeah, we have a waiver that I sent through about 3 different attorneys, and we're okay if anything happens. Where we'll get in trouble is if our coaches are doing something that isn't within our guidelines, like, I don't know what it would be, let's climb up to the ceiling and jump into the foam pit. Well, that's not part of any of our classes, and that's really negligent on our coach's part. If we do that,
Yeah, that's actually really fun.
we'll be in trouble. Or, you know, we've got a big rope that we can swing around, we've got a harness that we can pull you up to and flip. Sometimes things will get a little crazy with those things. If we're negligent in any way on that, we'll be in trouble. Somebody gets hurt. First of all, we don't want anybody to get hurt. And second of all, the business is at risk if we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. There's no question. And there's a lot of people flying around in there, so it's hard to monitor. But 20 grand a year, somewhere in there, $20,000 for liability insurance, it's a lot. Yeah.
Have you ever had a kid get lost in the foam pit or like try and like get stuck or anything like that?
Just one, really.
Yeah, maybe.
Just Nolan.
No.
Wait.
It's kind of true. No, it's kind of true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you bury yourself in there? No.
We had, what was that? That was like a post-prom.
Well, I
or
jumped
something.
in, and then some friends started throwing the foam on me. I kind of got down to the bottom and couldn't get my way out.
That's true.
This is hard
I
to
saw
get
it.
out of.
Huh?
This is hard to get out of. Have you ever been in
Yeah,
it?
it's a
Yeah.
workout.
Yeah, it's hard to
Yeah,
get
it's like you're
out.
swimming.
The younger kids, like your girl, they'll just kind of stay on the surface. It's kind of- But bigger guys, Nolan, well, even me, I mean, I go to the bottom. And it is hard to get out because there's nothing to grab onto because the foam just moves like quicksand. So we really gotta get moving.
Do you guys host parties there?
We do. We do, I'm not gonna say a lot of it, but we'll have, you know, on the weekends, there's some birthday parties in there that people will do. If you don't know how to do anything though, I don't mean that in a negative way, I'm just saying it's not like a bounce house place or a Defy Gravity or any of those places. If you don't know how to do anything like tumble and do tricks on trampoline, it's not that much fun because
No instruction.
there's just not stuff to do. But if you're into tumbling and into the gymnastic stuff and into trampoline stuff, those people, we do a lot of parties for those people. It's fun for them. And so we don't advertise much for that, but it's not a huge source of revenue for us. But what we use it for is to get people that don't know about the gym in the gym and then market them from then on. So like they'll invite people that didn't even know airborne existed and we'll say, yeah, you need to come here more. Try to get them to sign up, yeah.
Who's your competition?
We're pretty unique. And in the gymnastics, in the trampoline and tumbling world, which I'm calling gymnastics, but it's not really gymnastics. There's a couple gyms in town that do that. Metro Stars does, and there's a Premier Gymnastics out up north that does. But I say that, but then on the other hand, we have meets where they all come, and so everything's kind of good. If somebody were to come to me today and say, yeah, I'm doing this program with Metro Stars, and we're doing this, and started bad-mouthing, I would probably tell them to leave, just because I feel like if you're bad-mouthing them, in about too much, you're going to be bad-mouthing us, because that's your spirit, that's what you're made up of, and we just don't like the negative energy. But those are, on the cheer side, it's whoever does cheerleading. You know, I didn't realize cheer was going to be that big of a market, but we have almost 100 kids now, so it's pretty big. Like I said, we go from 37 to 100 in a year, and it's just, there's kids everywhere. And I believe it's just because if you think about the TV shows, and we all know how parents act in those scenarios and this and that, we just don't tolerate it. I just make them leave. This is not for you. You need to go somewhere else and have all these problems. You either come in and watch your kids, and when they're done, say you did great, or take a hike. We're not gonna play all this. And we're in a position where we can do that, which is fortunate. There's some gyms where they have 50 kids and they're barely making payroll and doing this, where they need those people. And I feel bad for them, because that's a heck of a spot to be in. If it ever got to that, I would just find something else to do. It's just, it's not worth the energy, and it's not worth my day to feel negative. So the cheer is probably the fastest growing part, but the rec program, I mean, our recreational program is, you know, 4:15 we'll have 4:15 class starts, and we'll have 50-some kids in there right away, coming in right after school and doing stuff. And like I said, we've got some other programs that are starting that are going to be big, and it's fun to manage. And I'm fortunate enough, you know, your employees are not this fortunate, but I'm fortunate enough that I don't have to spend a lot of time with my employees correcting them. I spend a lot of time with, how was your weekend? How'd your class go? Oh, class was great today. Or the one kid was, you know, well, the other day we had one poop their pants on a little kid pooped their pants when they're trying to do a somersault. I'll just say, they didn't use the word pooped. What do we do? I go, well, what do you think you do? Can't leave it there, you know. So there's some stuff that happens that's pretty original there. That, you know, I'm not gonna say it's fun, but you gotta be ready to adjust. Yes.
Have you ever had a parent like try to fight with you? Or have you ever had to call the cops on anything?
No, I have never had to call the cops. I had one parent fight with another parent just outside my door because one parent left their kids in the car when it was running, and the other parent thought that was kind of a big deal. And they argued over something that had nothing to do with the gym. The cops did end up coming. I don't know who called them, but I uninvited them to our gym the very next day. I just said, we can't have that. Well, they left their kids in the car. None of that has anything to do with me. Just go.
Not good publicity.
No, not when I got a lobby full of parents and they just want to watch their kids. Yes.
Have you ever had to tell like a parent that their kid just wasn't getting it? Like your kid's not succeeding?
Mm-hmm. I'm very open and honest with them, and I give them options of what maybe their kids would be good at. That I don't know that this is the right position for your daughter or son to be in, but what I would recommend is I think they could be good in this avenue, or things like that. And I turn it into a positive thing, something that they can look forward to, as opposed to they just,
Baseball coach,
you know.
my parents were
yeah, it's just.
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, those conversations have to happen, and I try as much as I can to just meet them head on and get them off my plate. If there's any kind of stress, or a parent calls or whatever, I had a parent email me today and said, can we meet on Tuesday? Like, it's Wednesday now. I have no idea what that means, none. So I just said, call me right now. So she did, and it was something stupid that was bothering her, and I said, no, it doesn't, it's not like that at all. Okay, thanks. But there was going to be this big buildup all the way to Tuesday, where there was going to be some meeting between us, and it was something silly. That it was just a misconception, with everything generally is. Somebody said somebody, and then, but it's just, it has to be met head on, or else it just kind of cultivates. And like I said, I try to be really nice about it and open about it. And I know some concerns are valid. I'm not gonna sit there and say, yeah, we're 100% right all the time, because we're not. So those are valid concerns sometimes. So it's important to listen. And I think that's one of the reasons people keep coming back too. First of all, I put my office right in the middle of a lot, which is craziness. But everybody has access to where I am. I'm not just sitting in some back room during the busy times. I'm in there, I'm in the, I'm in the stuff with them. And so they can help and ask me questions. So there's no miscommunication at all between me and the parents. All of them feel comfortable that they can just, if something's going on with the coaches, they can just come talk to me. Now, why are they in this class when I can see they have these skills and they need to be moved up? Well, hang on, they go ask. If the coach goes, I don't know, I said, well, can you talk to this mom? Yeah, I'll talk to her. And it's always soft.
Is it more when they move up classes?
No,
All the same price?
same price. All our rec classes are the same price, so you're not penalized for being better or worse. So it's based upon how many hours you're there. If you're there for an hour less, then it costs $65 an hour, or excuse me, a month. Sometimes that's 4 weeks, sometimes that's 5 weeks, but it's $65 a month. If you got 2 kids coming an hour, it's $120 a month. And so on. It's just flat. Because I didn't want to mess around with, yeah, you're here 5 times, or you're here 4 times, and I just didn't want to have those arguments. So we just made a model that said, this is what you pay. And we'll pull it out of your account monthly, automatically. Well, what if I just want to, no, we're gonna do this, okay? And we just do it. We just set those expectations. And almost everybody's just okay with it. But again, I wanted that flat monthly because I did not want to wait for, I didn't want to sit there tonight, like I come here and talk to you, and then I drive back to Airborne, and, geez, I wonder how many people are coming in tonight. And I'm sitting there looking at, well, there's only 10 people here. We're losing money right now. I didn't want to have to go home to that. I wanted to know exactly how many people were coming, exactly how many employees I needed, exactly how much space I needed, and that model works for me. You know, like I know, we're right next to Bounce Shoe. I know he kind of has that problem. He has like an open bounce or something. He doesn't know if there's going to be 5 kids or 50 kids coming. And that would drive me up the wall. But he's fine with it. He's got other things in place that he can deal with it. I just can't. So, what else? Anything about interviews, jobs, anything? Yeah.
You ever get that parent that just freaks out on their kid because they didn't land a backflip?
Yeah. Not so much at the high levels, but in the medium levels. And the young levels are too cute to get mad at. You would think, even though some do. The medium level is about 6th grade to 8th grade. Those are the parents you gotta watch out for. Because they still have real high hopes for them. You know, they think they're going to the Olympics. And they're maybe a little bit better than some of the kids in theirs. But those are the ones that I know that I target to just make sure I communicate with them the most. You know, it's not coaching, it's not facilities, it's how hard do they work, and then what's their talent level. It's that. And so we don't have a problem. I wouldn't call it problems, I would just call it a lot of questions about it. I don't look at it as a problem when somebody comes up to me, other people call it a complaint. I look at it as, it's a chance for me to answer and communicate. And I think that attitude has helped me with them, because I don't automatically get back. Yeah.
What made you like start the business and everything?
When I was working for another company, and I wanted to do something else because I was doing a lot of traveling. I was doing some airplane stuff, and I was just, you know, my son was playing a lot of sports. My daughter is heavily involved in the sport, which is one of the ways I had to get on it, so I kind of knew about it. I was just missing stuff, and I didn't know what to do, and I just kind of one day put a business plan together, and I told my wife, let's do this. And that was probably 3 years ago.
Wait, is that why she doesn't coach here anymore?
What's that?
Is that why she doesn't coach here anymore?
No, that's not the reason. That happened before. She stopped coaching here like the year before that, I think. But I don't know the timing of that, but no, that's not the reason. So yeah, so I just decided to do it, and I mean, I've got everything I own wrapped up into it, so it better work.
So can you tell us some pros and cons, because you have worked other jobs, of owning your business versus working for someone else?
Well, no question, I'm the boss. I'm the boss of my day.
I mean, like,
If I want to sleep till 1, I can. Nothing gets done, my business is at risk, but that's what I want to do, I could. There's nobody telling me I need to be anywhere. I don't have to, right, most of the stuff is my decision. Now, I've got good people that I make decisions, but they kind of bring them to me and I say, yeah, let's go do this. But that's number one, is it's offered me the ability to make my own schedule. I say that, and then I will tell you that I'm at work at 8 in the morning, and I usually get home at 10 at night, but then I have breaks during the day where I can go do stuff. So, the negative part is, if right now a toilet overflows, I'm gonna get a phone call. If somebody's not there, it becomes my problem. If one of my employees on the way home from school gets the flu, I've got to come up with a solution fast. And that's not anything anybody can help. Those are some of the drawbacks. When it rains and the roof leaks over the weekend, one day somebody left my garage door open in the back, we have a dumpster, you press the button, the garage door opens, you put it in the dumpster, you push a button, it shuts. An employee that couldn't quite figure that out and forgot to push the down button and left. About 4 in the morning, I get a call from the police. Everyone's been broken into. At the same time, my wife gets a text from one of the people and said, hey, I just heard on the police scanner that airport got broken into. So I'm thinking, well, this is real. I go down to Airborne, and that's all it was. Cops saw it was open, and they were just sitting there waiting for somebody to come. Nothing happened. I just had an employee. But anyway, if I was just a worker and didn't have any, I wasn't solely vested into it, I just would have kept sleeping. But that day I had to get up and go check it out. And I was scared from the time I left my house when I got there. I was like, okay, I wonder what's all gone. What can I replace? What's this? How are we going to be open tomorrow? And that was just 2 policemen doing their jobs. That's it. Making sure nobody broke in because the garage door was open. And then to the employee the next day, I was like, did you? Yeah, I did. Okay, let's not do that again. And it really was that simple. I don't believe he meant to do it. I believe he's a knucklehead, but I don't believe he meant to do it. Do I need to sign somebody else to push that button? Process is open it, throw, hit it. Is that something I need somebody else to do? No, I can do it. Okay, great. Yeah. So that's that.
so since you work with kids, do your summers look a lot different than now?
Right. Yeah. Our big periods are right now. Right now we have high enrollment, so we need to take advantage of that. December it'll drop a little bit, but January and February will pick up. And then once spring hits and summer hits, it's hard to get your kid, your 10-year-old, to a tumbling class at 4:15 when they've been at the pool all day. So enrollment does drop, but that's natural, and we budget for that. Also, we're probably opposite from a lot of people in that our employee level goes down in the summer. So we don't need a whole lot of part-time help in the summer. We need it now and beginning of the year. But we do a lot of flip camps. We try to do more and more things to get people in the gym in the summer, a lot of stuff. The gym is actually schedule-wise busier in the summer, but that's just because we have to be more creative.
So you like to do more daytime stuff?
Yeah. We have a camp every day from 10 to 12 where kids come in for structure and we call it flip camp. And there's learn how to flip. They run around playing games and, jump over the noodle into the pit and do a flip. And then they play horse. They play horse with their skills, backflip, then when somebody answers the backflip. So we do a lot of that kind of stuff. Yeah. But the challenge is, how do you get people to know about it? That's always a challenge for any business. How do you get people to know?
Yeah, how do you guys advertise?
We haven't done a lot.
You've done some TV, I've seen you on TV.
That was an award from the Omaha Chamber. I didn't even know that was going on TV.
Oh,
Yeah, I saw myself on TV one day.
I said, I know him.
Yeah. That was an award that we got for Business of the Month through Omaha.
That was probably helpful, huh?
Yeah, very helpful.
Very good.
Very helpful. And then the other thing I did was, I did buy a 20-second spot. We're in all the YMCA's, the screen that they have up there that says classes. We've got a 20-second commercial up there. other than that, I don't, the best way to get Airborne's word out is doing these kinds of things and just being really, really good to your parents and adding value. If we were a crappy gym and the kids had a bad experience, what I know is somebody comes in to tumble and they're also a volleyball player and they're 10 years old. And mom and dad are sitting there watching a volleyball game with all the people that don't know about Airborne. And they go, yeah, well, she's been tumbling at Airborne, it's great.
What's Airborne?
That's more valuable to me than any pamphlet or brochure or whatever that I can hand out, or a little coupon in the paper or whatever. Not that that doesn't work for some people, but I believe that we just have to get people in there by having other people do the work for us. If you bring somebody in, I do like $10 off or whatever, you fill out a coupon, bring a friend in, but we don't spend a lot of money on advertising. We haven't had to yet, there may be a time when we do, but we haven't had to yet. They've just been growing too fast. This is expensive too.
Airborne is not a franchise. It's your own.
Yeah.
That's helpful too.
Airborne is a unique, just thought up one day.
You don't have to give part of your.
It was gonna be batting cages too, but I got a baseball in me, but couldn't swing it.
So you don't have to give part of your money to anybody. That's the positive thing.
Right. No, anything we earn is ours. We just need to, and our employees. Yeah.
What made you think of the name Airborne?
John got asked that this morning. I was doing a Hal thing this morning. They asked me the same thing. We just made a list. And you guys are a little bit older crowd, so I can say this, but it was Airborne Academy. And one of the guys said, well, Airborne would be first in the phone book. And I go, well, I'm going to ask all the kids that come to Airborne if they even use a phone book, because I'm going to tell you they don't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And Airborne just kind of, when we put the list together, there was probably about 5 things in there. And Airborne to me jumped out the most because it felt like more stuff in the air. Like that's what we are. We're an acrobatic gym. We teach things in the air. It's tricking, it's skateboarding, it's diving, it's all these things. We teach all those things, so it's Airborne. And then I came up with the Academy because I wanted that to differentiate things from Bounce You and Defy Gravity and whatever the other one is. I didn't want people to think it was a bounce place, just like you come in and bounce around. Those are very good businesses, but that's not what we do. It's a training facility. So I thought the Academy would work. Well, then I had this idea that we're going to make these shirts with our initials on them. And then we started walking around with these AA shirts. Somebody said, oh, yeah, how many years were you sober? We're going to come up with a different.
I know.
We're going to start doing ABs now. So, you won't see AA. The downside is, like, my plates say Airborne, and I get embarrassed about this a lot. So I have Airborne on my plates, and people will thank me for serving.
Oh.
And that's kind of a serious thing. Well, I wasn't in the Army, I wasn't an Airborne Ranger or anything, I just had this gymnastics place called Airborne. So that's really been the only negative to our name, is I wanted to make sure that nobody really thought that or whatever, but other than that, it's been a pretty good name for us. It kind of speaks well to our brand. Anything else? Did it go fast enough for you?
Very interesting.
I know sometimes they drag, you can speaker. They drag.
Anything else, guys? Well, I think they're probably watching the clock.
Well, and
too.
I just make sure you make yourselves valuable. Make yourselves valuable at your job. Make it so, 1, they can't get rid of you, or else they have a lot of work to do. Or 2, you're so valuable, they never want you to leave, and so they need to pay you more money. Because that's how I would think. And I would also think if I'm paying you more money and you're not doing your job, I can get somebody else to do that job for less money. So just make sure you don't fall into that category. All right?
Good advice.